And hopefully this time, we'll have to check. Hopefully this time I'll get it so that I actually link to the actual stream that I had set up.
Mm.
And looks like it's not again.
Really?
Yeah, it's not. I'm streaming to a different. So that is such a pain in the butt.
I mean, there's got to be a way to do it, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's got to be because of the software, because the let's see, darn it, content.
By the way, do we want to be in this meeting room or the other one?
Which is the other one?
The private one.
I thought we were in the private one.
No. See you over there.
All right, I'm gonna redo all my links.
You're gonna what? Move too fast. Max went away. What happened?
Oh, I didn't move anywhere. He
yeah,
moved too.
I moved too fast, and
Oh.
you didn't move at all.
This one. All right, I'm gone. There we go. All right. So I just resent out the links. So I set it up through OBS Streamlabs. I schedule the stream, and then I link that link, and then when I hit go live, it's a different link. So,
sounds like a Sebastian question.
Does Sebastian know that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, he knows all about this crap.
All right. Well, I'm thinking of going away from the Streamlabs OBS because it's basically like it helped me kind of get used to OBS. It's kind of like it's just like simplified OBS, but I think I know it well enough now that I can just use the raw version.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So we have one viewer. That's all we need.
Is it Max?
Probably Max.
Is it me? It's probably me. I'm watching the stream now.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me, Maureen. No, we'll have people. Especially, that's the thing, right? You try to promote your stream and say, "Hey, follow this thing," and blah blah, and then you don't actually you send people to that link. It's a little.
Right.
It's a little. You're working against yourself there, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Can you crop me in a little bit more?
Yeah.
Because I'm like tiny compared to your face. I should sit closer.
I can also crop you.
Okay. Yeah, we don't need to see what's hanging off my rocking chair right here. Well.
Oops.
I guess
that didn't work. All right. Fun with OBS. Starring Tim. Co-starring Wingman.
That's better. Hello.
Guess we're... No, we're not.
We are tired.
Yeah.
Well, I'm speaking for myself. Royal we.
I am...
The royal... Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm still getting set up because somebody forgot that she'd promised her homeboy that she would stream with him. And
who could that be?
Who could that possibly be?
I've been neck deep in the idea vault.
like Scrooge McDuck in his money vault thing?
Not as much joy. Not quite as much joy. Yeah.
Got it. All right. Is that better? Is your crop acceptable to you now?
I guess.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Eric, you're a little quiet.
I don't hear him at all. Oh, he's muted. I have him muted.
Oh, well, that would be why.
Discord will automatically keep you muted. You're still low, Eric.
How low am I now?
I just turned you back up to your user volume. You're good. You're good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Happy.
I mean Friday. Why am I saying Wednesday? No, it's because our normal team meetings are on Wednesdays.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
I'm about to pull the graveyard shift at
Nice.
the workshop.
Nice.
So I'm just gonna build this this enclosure for one of our automakers while providing some feedback
Nice.
on the music box design.
Cool. Well, let's dive into it. So we have last week with Eric and Andre we dove into the skeleton thing quite hard, and I'll show you that part. I'm going to open it up. Oops, I'll just show you all these different sketches. So here we have a fully parametric skeleton for the MMX. Oops. Come on.
All right, you remade that.
Yeah, I remade it after it crashed. So
I added a pearl to the jar.
Oh,
by the
thank
way.
you, thank you. And using just the parameters that are in that set of parameters we defined, I made this sketch. And so I have a few different planes in different things. I was able to, this isn't very representative, but these are the different plates. These are the motor plates. The thickness is a parameter in there. So all of that drives this other file.
Great.
Which is keep changes in assembly. So that is all good. And this is where we are now. Now I've done a little bit of a few changes to this in between last week and this week. As you can see, I've added some fillets and I've added some parts here. So most notably, I've added the details on how this thing works. So we have a upper roller and a bottom roller, as you can see. And we have some ball bearings. I did change the ball bearings here because the bigger these bearings get, the wider this circle needs to be. And this comes into, like, if we tried to make this circle lower and the bearings were bigger, then they would run into each other. I need some adjustability through here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I didn't shrink these yet, but I want to, and I'll show you why. So I shrunk these. This is the block that carries this upper bearing. And if you can see, it's in a little pocket. And then there's this plate on the outside that keeps it in. So if I turn off that thing, you'll basically put force on the top roller. This will be a threaded hole, 6mm bolt. We'll push down on this block in this slot, and that will push the two rollers together.
And are they just sitting on top of each other and we're using the rubber for compression, or is there any kind of spring?
Rubber for compression, that's it. So
nice.
I think they'll be a little bit loose when the paper is not there. But yeah, I think
But that's good for feeding. Like,
yeah.
You want to be able to get it in. So
yeah, no, and hopefully it's a set and forget kind of thing. But you will be able to preload the rubber a little bit. Not going to get into it at this second, but right now I have these drawn as though they're solid steel. The bad news is, since we decided to give in and say we're going to do this all metric, is that I can't find rubber rollers that are metric yet. So for right now, I have these as, these are turned steel parts. We could make this diameter a little narrower and put a bunch of O-rings along here.
You mean washers?
No O-rings, like rubber O-rings, square.
No, I mean, but O-rings are our version of washers.
Yeah, it would look a lot like that. It would be an homage. But there are both square edged and round O-rings. I think we would use the square edged ones because otherwise, over time, it's going to make the paper ruffles shaped if you used a bunch of round O-rings on that part. So some thought needs to go into that.
Oh, you mean using just O-rings for the roller?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's definitely a way to do it. Sure.
Yeah. Basically stack them up along there.
I don't mind that at all.
Yeah. The reason I didn't want to do round rings is because if you have two different circles, let me look at my camera.
Oh no, you're totally right. You
like
want the flat edge.
Yeah, you want the flat edge. Yeah. So this is kind of set-ish. The only other, let me find my sheets over here. New tab that I'm going to steal. This is not the right, not the right document. Why don't I do this not on screen so that in case I dox myself.
What, like with numbers of things with dollar
Yeah.
signs.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I need to find my my spreadsheet that I linked it into my into the Discord the other day. Music box parameters. Here we go. Boom.
So I do have to confess that I have not been staying current on the Music Box channel at all. Like I haven't even read any posts in there. How's it been working?
It's been working great actually. So Ed Dickens Big Toe, and I think he just changed his name to a real name. So I forget what it was. He's probably watching right now. So anyway, he did an experiment with me actually. So let's go to Discord.
Okay.
So here and go into that channel. Come on.
Oh, hold on. I'm a little behind on the stream. Keep going. I'll catch up.
Yeah. Where is the music box? So Dan Carroll is his name. So he did some
So
things.
he did the motor things.
Yeah, so he did a thing, and actually it's in my my DMs. If you can see this, so he did a thing where he weighted the paper and measured how much weight it takes to pull the paper through when there's different numbers of holes punched. Right, we were trying to get a feeling for what's the torque of that the motor needs to have. Right, so
Wow.
he hung weights onto the paper, pulled it through the music box, and you can see that the numbers go up as more notes are triggered, which makes sense. So that's 850 grams. Is that's a that's half a pound of force almost.
Dang.
So basically what we did is I took that. So he gave me that, and then we went back and forth, and then also in the go find the music box channel. Here he measured each of these. Apparently with this paper, you're not supposed to put a note any closer than these two, because that's the amount of space that needs to go for a note to reset. So that's like one beat. This is like a quarter note, and he measured those, and that's 8 millimeters. So with that, what we're able to do is let me go over to this screen. See, we're actually doing engineering on this.
Yeah.
Are you proud of us? This is not not a normal thing.
I don't have to be proud of you guys. I mean, this is what you do. Like, it's nice to see
I want
real
you to be proud of
engineering
me.
things. No, I mean that's I mean the proudness is supposed. It's already
Right.
there.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Well, no, I mean it's just funny because we are all so committed to this project, which is ostensibly an engineering project, but it's kind of art before engineering.
Yeah.
So it does feel good, to be doing things, which include math.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so we basically took this measured pull force, which is 850 grams. I said, okay, let's make sure, like, because there's gonna be friction in the system, whatever. So we built in a safety factor of 2. So basically, we're looking at 2 kilograms, and 2.2 kilograms is a pound. So it's basically a pound of force to pull. And then what I did is we turned that into newtons, and then this is the radius of the drive wheel. But anyway, that gives us a number which is in Newton meters, which is the SI unit of torque. But some people, you'll see, like these guys, define torque as kilograms times centimeter. So anyway, we have both units here. So it's either a quarter of a Newton meter or 2.5 kilogram centimeters. And this is really interesting. I mean, I think this is interesting, but I found some graphics which I plugged in, which is that the typical NEMA 17 motor is between 0.2 and 1 Newton meters, which means it's sufficient. But we want to use these.
That should be like 20 kilogram centimeters, roughly.
Yeah. So, well, they have the unit here. the thing is, we want to use these super quiet trinamic drivers, which is the suggestion from I forget who, and you get less torque with those. So I looked up trinamic, and this is their torque curve. Can I make this larger somehow? Maybe.
You can Control Plus to zoom in.
Why not
sure?
Windows Plus?
Oh
yeah, you're on a Mac.
I'm not on a Mac.
Oh, you're not on a Mac.
No. So, well, either way, but now it's a little too big. So this is their things, and they have these in terms of number of pulses, but they show you 400 pulses per second is 60, and this is their torque curve, right? And the RPM we needed based on the fact that it's 8 millimeters per thing and the circumference of the roll, kind of doing that, basically is that with a roll that's the size we currently have it, is that you get 9.8 beats every time the thing turns around. So if you're doing 60 beats per minute, you're only doing 6 RPM. It's super, super slow for this motor. And if you look at this torque curve, they say 400 pulses per second is 60 RPM. That's down here. So we're even on the low end of their torque curve on this side. So we actually get more torque if we speed it up. So
yeah, and visually speeding it up might be better too.
And we'll get more resolution, blah, blah, blah. So that then leads us to this other thing, which is saying, okay, well, we already have a safety factor of 2x, but we could easily add more speed to this motor. So we have the opportunity to do a belt reduction. Because right now, the way that the motor works, the way that it's laid out in the skeleton is that we're 1-to-1. If we were to look at this sketch, this pulley, you see that this is all parametrically derived. This top part of this slot is the same as the bottom. So
hold on one sec. Andre had a question. Can you hear him?
I cannot hear him.
Discord?
No, I have him muted. Hold on a second. That's the same thing. I mute people from last month. All right, Andre, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say this is a stepper motor, right? So if you spin it very slowly, then it's basically holding torque.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's
you could totally spin it very slowly if you wanted to.
Well, I think we have no choice but to spin it really slowly. I mean, the application, unless we work in a gearbox.
Yeah.
And from all the tests I've seen, the trinamic drivers make more noise as they go faster. So if it has enough torque and it's moving slowly, I think that's great. I think the only thing I want to do is find a set of pulleys that will work, and give it like a 2-to-1 step down to just because we have the RPM to play with, it's going to have a little bit more torque given the specs from the trinamic driver. We'll actually get more torque out of it, and it's actually going to increase our torque safety factor because we're going to have a gear down. So instead of having a 2x safety factor, we'll be at 4.
Wow.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. The other consideration, though, is that if you look at these are from Pololu, these gear motors. And if you look at these are in kilogram centimeters, right? So our spec here for kilogram centimeters is 2.5. All of these, these things just have so much torque compared to. So that's why, Martin, without doing any calcs at all on his thing, that these things just totally blew his requirements away because they just have a huge amount of torque.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
He was either wise or lucky. Maybe.
So one thing that I want to just bring up from the music aspect is the beats per minute, which will affect the speed. That's going to be the main factor of how fast a song is being pulled through. And the 8 millimeters of space between notes that can be played, that I can't remember his name now, Dan,
yep.
Calculated for you.
Yep.
Was that based on a specific beat per minute?
So I think you have to write the music with a certain speed in mind. So I read a thing about writing music with this, and the thing that I wrote was basically that these are quarter notes, right?
Well,
So
quarter notes, I mean, I don't want to get into a whole musical discussion, but depending on your tempo of the song, quarter notes could be faster or slower. It really just depends on
yeah.
stuff. So maybe what I could do, or if someone else has musical inclinations, is just kind of do a little quick analysis on any song that Martin's used this on to kind of get that in there, or figure out what the BPM is, because that could, I just want to make sure that what all the stuff that you guys are calculating is going to fit the songs that he would be playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think it might be it might make sense to ping this off of either Martin or other people who've used this.
Yes.
All I know for sure is that you can't put any notes closer together than that 8 millimeters, because the mechanism needs to reset itself after it's been
Right,
plugged.
but we need to know what the time of that is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how long does that?
Yeah,
we
well, if
have
a piece of
30
music-
notes. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we have 30 notes, 2 measures, 8 beats is 6.4 centimeters. But we need the time amount. Like, we actually need to calculate how many milliseconds is that.
Well-
That's the factor that's missing, is what I'm saying.
Well, no, but what you're missing is that we're gonna make this variable speed.
Oh, I know. I just want to make sure we're within the that your target is within the same musical target. That's all.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's
That's just the last stat that we need to plug into the equation.
Yeah. Well, if you look here, the target here is that we can do easily. 60 BPM is pretty slow. And doing 180 is pretty high. We're still in a very low RPM range. And I think the reason to do it this way, as opposed to, because with these gear motors, you could just put a resistance pot on it, and you could turn the voltage, and it'll turn faster or slower. Like, there's no microcontroller, nothing. And that's part of the reason why people use these. You can just set a potentiometer, and it'll change the speed.
Okay.
But part of the value add that I want to provide here is that we have a digital readout of the BPM, and say, this is 120, and then you hit this button, say go. So that if he does have different songs, he's not trying to get to a certain thing. He sets it, and it's a positive lock on the speed.
I mean, that's kind of what he's doing with the MMX too. It's just musicians know how fast it is. Like, you just know how fast the song is. For 60 is pretty easy because it's 1 beat per second. So
yeah,
if you double that or triple that or whatever, it's really easy.
I'm pretty sure that I don't remember if I could. Come on. I believe that when we're looking at we should try to find where his control knob was, on the inside of it. Maybe it's in these files. This is not the right place, but I'm pretty sure he just had a potentiometer knob and then some like markings on the thing, like turn. If you hit it at this point, you're at the right speed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if he already wrote what the BPMs that he's going to need for his songs, then
right.
I mean, it seems like everything you've done, we're fully within the range of any song that he's ever going to play on a music box.
Right.
But I'm just saying we should find the max speed that these music boxes can play without skipping.
Okay. Yeah, and then a display like this is what I want to work in. So,
that would be on the back. Well, so the display.
That's a design consideration we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Getting ahead of you.
Yeah. No, it's good. I mean, it means we're on the same page, right? So I think we just got up to speed on the engineering stuff. So you can see I put the NEMA 17 stepper motor in there. Again,
it's so cute.
Yeah, I have to come up. I need to find the right drivers. We need to figure out the surface, and if we can buy an off-the-shelf roller, that would be great if we can find one. If not, then I'm gonna reduce this diameter and find O-rings that have flat edges, square edges that we can put together and make tires.
Thread them on there.
Yeah.
So one question for you: did you guys talk about the difference between having one roller on a flat thing and two rollers turning together? Like, do we need two rollers, or can we just have the top roller pressing the paper against some like shiny slick metal or something?
Yeah, it's a good question. This, if we, let me turn that off. If this these, they don't even need to be the same size. That's just a default. I set up the parameters here so that we can change the sizes. I've seen systems like this where you have one that is rubber and one that is metal. We could certainly do that. The reason
I don't know.
The reason I'm assuming that they're both going to be rubber is because although we might want to make this one smaller, and I can make this smaller again now that I've found these little small bearings. Before these were 22 millimeters in diameter, now they're 10. These can get smaller. Is that this wheel, the idler roller, will go faster if it's smaller, if this diameter is smaller. So for that visual indicator that we want to put on it someday, and it's possible, if this guy is large, they don't have to be the same size. If this guy is large, you end up having more surface area that the paper is in touch with, over the course of that. But I do want to make sure, though, let's say, especially if this one is being driven and we have a visual indicator on it, that this one doesn't slip. I want it to turn. So that's kind of why I'm defaulting to the idea that we have rubber on both. So we
both
have,
rubber on both. Yeah. No, I'd agree with that. And what I was just saying, with one cylinder and a flat plane, then you've got friction happening, and with two grippy rubbers, then you've got less friction, like of the paper having to slide. It's more that it gets pulled.
Yeah.
The
paper
music says the sliding plate would have to be extremely slippery. So yeah, I don't think that would be.
Yeah, it's going to be in air from here to here. It's just getting pulled through the air on this plane. This is the way we're setting it up.
Yep. NewsX also said, why not have a wheel that has the same circumference as 1 beat or 2, 3, or 4 beats? I mean, for an adjustable song, if different songs are played at different speeds, then are you saying we would change in a different roller? So that always the spinning thing is going at the... I don't think we...
I get what he's saying, right? Because then because right now when you look at the... where is my... where is that? I have another... Here we go. Here, we're going to end up with... We have an odd number for the number of beats per revolution. And so, if he was... Yeah, 60 BPM would be... So the thing is, though, we're going to have this with an Arduino, and there's going to be some calibration factor in there that's going to be some number to get from the number of pulses you send to it to what the RPM is. And we're just going to end up having a correction factor in there that's going to be totally opaque to the end user.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
NewsX also says change motor speed, so 60 beats per minute would be 60 RPM.
So then the roller would have to be, the circumference of it would have to be 8 millimeters, and that's a 3 millimeter shaft. So you
I don't know if it really matters. If that's more of an aesthetic thing, and that could maybe...
I appreciate it because there's a certain thing about like wanting all of your metrics in terms of like, the engineering to all just work, like on the original Segways. I remember hearing this like nerdgasm thing about how they used something about the gear ratios. They always made sure that the ratios of the gears, the sound that would come out of it would be like a major chord harmony kind of thing, so that it sounded well. And they did that through the number of teeth they selected in their gear ratios. And it's like, that is a nerdy thing.
That's
and I
nerdy.
love it, right? So yeah, I get what you're saying, NewsX, but
well, what we could do is figure out the songs that we know use a music box, see if we can find a typical speed that Martin likes to use the music box for, and then tune it to that, and then sometimes it'll play with the song and sometimes it won't,
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. That's all I think. I mean, there's going to be more practical considerations in terms of like what size O-rings can we find that
right.
might be more of something that drives the bus than those kind of.
Yeah, we don't need to put an indexable clutch on this little guy.
Although we could, right? We are going to
We
talk.
could do whatever. Yeah, but we had to put some restrictions on the project. Yeah.
We don't need to be worried about whether we should. We just have to be worried about whether we could. You know.
Right.
That's a well-known saying, right?
Good
You'll
point.
get that one right.
Yeah. Well, I like to say, if it's worth killing, it's worth overkilling. That's one of my. I'm hoping that'll be on the backside of my tombstone, amongst the many sayings that I'm known for.
Because you were in a car accident, because there was a tornado and also a tsunami and everything all at the same time.
Yeah, yelling YOLO and yeah.
Well, okay, so I have to share this story. So I had a watch that was like my favorite watch when I was growing up. It was triangle shaped, and around the face of the watch, it had this little channel for little crystals. And on the same day, the band it stopped working. The crystals got stuck. It fell off my wrist while I was riding my bike, and I ran it over. It was just like It all just died on the same day, and I was like, okay, I guess that's it for that one. It was, I don't know if those were the specific things that happened, but it was 3 different things happened on the same day. And
all to the same thing.
It really was. It was just sick of being with me, that's all. Yeah.
All right, here's a SolidWorks question. Music box skeleton is selected. These should be visible, but they're not. Why am I not seeing my sketches?
Your ADHD engineering sign is kind of in the way of what you're messing with there.
Pardon me. I will reposition that. Do you see that? So the sketches are there. In this part, they should be visible. They're not grayed out.
Yeah. Is the part itself is visible?
Now it's not, and now it is. Hey, maybe it's one of those you gotta unplug it and plug it back in kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've just rebuilded. All right. Well, let's.
So wait, if you like activate that part, will you see them then?
No. It's okay. Let's make a new component because we're going to get to the stuff that I promised Maureen we'd be talking about today.
Did you notice I'm spacing out because you guys are talking about SolidWorks?
Paper wheel hub. So we're gonna make a new part, and we're gonna put its sketch right there. Now here's the thing: is that I really want to. Oh, that worked. I just converted the whole entity. That's fine.
Cool.
Revolve. So just for the sake of illustration, this is gonna go away. Font in the center line. Blah 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 blah. I know it does.
Wait, what is its problem with that? You clicked on the edge, shouldn't that work?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't like doing that. Maybe it's because these are. Remember, like SolidWorks hates things with the infinite. No.
Definitely.
SolidWorks, you're breaking me.
It definitely hates things with multiple contours. At least it used to. So I don't know if that's kind of doing it.
Well,
oh, man, that should work.
It really should.
It really should work. Okay, delete everything.
Yeah. Well, I was just trying to make the hub anyway.
Oh, you know what it is? I bet it's because you can't click on a solid line to revolve something. You have to be a center line. But try doing this. This should work. This
No,
really should work.
if it's a center line, it thinks it's an open. I think it's because I had
Right.
stuff that wasn't involved. Yeah, I had open sketches down there that were not involved in my thing.
Yeah.
All right, so there we are. We have our hub,
Sweet.
and let's
Yeah.
just make a new body. This is gonna be a throw the CAD standards document out the window for a second, okay?
Wow. You're
yeah.
designing, so
Yeah.
it doesn't apply.
So I'm gonna convert that guy.
Wait, why is this bad about CAD? What's wrong with this? in
Well, no,
terms of
because I'm going
CAD
to do
standards?
multiple bodies, and I know for a fact I'm already doing it the way I don't want to be doing it this way. So I did think I added a parameter for how thick these things are, but all right. So so there's really two design questions, Mo, if you tracking with me, and I'm going to give you them both so you can start thinking about both. One is what do the spokes on this wheel look like? Sorry, there's three. I lied to you. I keep on lying to you. There's three. One is what do the spokes on this thing look like? Two is what does the support structure for it look like, right? And did I say one and then three?
No, that was
Okay.
two.
So that was two, and then C.
Thanks.
C. I want to have the control panel. I think open to debate, but I want to have the control panel here. So there'll be an LCD screen here, and then a place where we have a potentiometer, a place where we have a button, like a start-stop button. And I want to put it there because I think we can put the Arduino and all the control stuff basically on this plane or on this plane and have it sticking out this way. And what's cool about that is then all the electronics for the whole thing are just in this little module, and it slips into the box, and it can be pre-wired and there's no other. There might be a power connection you make in here or something.
So I think having it on the first off, starting with three, for C, having it on the end, because this is meant to be viewed from the side. You know, what are we calling? That's the front or back. The big wide flat plane. That's where it's meant to be viewed because that's where you can see the gears turning. So if you had the
you're talking about this in this orientation.
Yeah, so that's the front. That's a view. That side or the opposite side is the way that it would be angled toward the stage, depending on, how they arrange the band or whatever.
Right. And yeah, I'm assuming this is the front side because the only times when I've seen him use it, he's looking at this side.
But that may be because of the trapdoor in the back, and that's where all the wires are hanging out like guts.
Right. Yeah, and he put it like stage right. So this would be anyway. So yeah, assuming that it's still on the left side of the stage.
And then also having a little screen at the end would be real close to the motor there, so it looks like there'd be enough clearance, but also it'd be slightly hidden by when the paper spills off over it. So that's good too for aesthetics because you would only need to play with that when you're setting up.
Right. Well, here I think if you have a window that has the BPM, you have a switch, or you have a dial for changing that, and then you have a button that lights up. I think that's all he needs. There could be an overall power switch, but I think if you plug it in and it's on, I think that's probably just fine too. It is an Arduino, so do Arduinos take time to boot?
I don't know.
Usually not.
No. If they do, it's probably
Maybe
just
like
a few seconds.
Few milliseconds. Yeah.
But I'm saying to put it not on that face, Tim. I'm saying putting it on the end.
Oh, on this end. Yeah, well, so that... so if you notice, there's nothing holding these plates apart. So that's actually another aesthetic thing, is that we do need to put in... originally, I was going to have a standoff, like a circular thing coming in between. But I do think that we can put in... a solid plate at this end to set the space of those two motor plates apart. And then let's just kind of draw it. there. And that is, I mean, that's not a bad place for the controls. But you're right. It would get. I'm sorry. I'm like going back in time now, understanding what you said like 45 seconds ago.
Oh man, I saw an error message from my SolidWorks appear on your screen, and I thought you'd patched.
That's funny. So these are all 10mm plates. So they can come up to there. So yeah, we do have an opportunity to use that as a working surface. I was thinking that you know, I have to make it a little bit smaller. I do want to have a small 3D printed piece of plastic that goes in here and basically sneaks up to this roller, so that the paper can't, if its paper is curled on the leading edge, it can't get forced down into here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
A little bit of a fairing. But I was thinking maybe we could put like a Wilson there, or a Winter Garden thing there, or we could put, you know, have a hole in it and have some sort of design. It could even be lit up from the back, so when the stage goes dark, you know, sometimes when in live music, like the lights are out, but you can see like all the different like, you know, like displays that are on all the audio equipment is still on, and it kind of looks like they're like little stars in the constellation of like what's happening on stage.
Blue LED accent lighting or something.
Yeah, you know, put some RGB back there and make it a gaming rig, yo.
Like those glows that you see coming from under the cars that are all tricked out.
Yeah. So could you imagine having a little glow-in-the-dark Wilson back there? You know? And,
well, but how would you see that if the other's face was oriented toward the stage?
well, this will be going towards the people. Let's say you're looking at it on the stage. It's probably going to be like that. Probably going to be at an angle, kind of in the back.
I don't know. I think it's
mean,
more flat on,
And
actually.
yeah, maybe. Well, I mean,
And don't forget the paper is spilling over that end, so it's going to cover it up.
Yeah.
So that would not be a good place for little Wilson.
Unless
like
as the
this
paper goes
machine-
through, you're going to see the holes. You're going to see the light through the Wilson light behind. Right? It actually might be, you know how like the whole thing Martin has about like the funnels being an echo of the notes that are being played. You know, as the paper goes in front of the let's call it a Wilson light, right? Or whatever, you're going to see
like
the
a
holes.
projector. It'll
Yeah.
project the hole onto the other side of the stage, and you see them in like a huge
Yes.
waterfall.
I like this idea more now.
Okay,
I was
so
kind of kidding.
but
depending
I'm
on
going
how
with it.
it's all lit up, so paper's translucent. So if it was all lit up normally, like however the stage is, but then there's this like very bright spotlight shining through these holes that might look a little weird depending on other things. But I like the idea of using music box holes as a way to do the whole Starry Night thing.
Yeah. I've used these on a couple
You're
different
not gonna
projects
get
for fun.
enough dots out of them. I think there's not like the amount of dots of holes going past the light. It should be like 3 or 4.
It would have to be pitch black in order to get what you're talking about, which it could be in a concert. You never know. I mean,
Yeah.
depending on, based on some of the shows that I've seen them do, they do some cool effects. But I think maybe lighting is a little bit feature creepy to talk about right now.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, for sure.
I have ADD. It's in the title, lady. All right.
I'm sorry. I still don't
no.
take that as an excuse for anything, man.
No, it's not. It's
No.
not. Oh, you know, yeah. The whole point of calling this ADHD engineer is I'm owning it, right?
Yeah, okay.
Um.
All right, so let's get you back on track
Yeah,
then.
thank you,
Okay,
thank
I have
you,
a
thank you.
question.
Yeah.
I have a question about the model. So this is not, if you've got, okay, so you've got those rubber spaces between the metal mounting plates and the wooden outside. So does that mean there's a huge old gap in there? Look at it from the end where like bits of things can get in and wreck the motor.
Well, the motor will be in here. The pulley will be semi-shielded. Over
No, but
here.
like from that angle right there, that gap
Yeah.
is like somewhere you can just drop a cheese sandwich in, right?
Yes. You have to put a warning sign. Keep your grody cheese sandwiches away. Martin.
Are you absolutely sure you don't want to enclose the motor in there?
Well, the motor's going to be decently enclosed. We'll have a fairing.
Is
3D
that your
printed fairing.
venting? Is the reason for those gaps is because of venting for everything?
No. I mean, the motor will get warm, but it's not like, and I don't think we're going to be running this thing so hot that it needs to be cooled.
Okay, but where I'm going with this is ruggedness for like stagehands throwing something in a case somewhere and it's going all over the world and stuff. Like having holes in your musical equipment. I mean,
there's holes.
Maybe they'll just treat it like a violin, and throw it in its case and that'll be it. But the original idea with this piece was that the box was the case. So we have abandoned that, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, then it's probably okay.
Well, could you not just cut out the space in the wood and then cut out a negative in acrylic? And
yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to make little fairings to put in there, you certainly could.
Okay.
I don't think nothing's keeping us from doing that.
Another question is, right now you have this metal or the metal like motor module coming right up against the edge. But what if you recessed it inside there and just had a wood,
You mean up against this edge? You mean having wood enclose it? Yeah.
Oh wait, are those also vibrational spacers?
That's the vibrational spacer right there.
Oh. Okay. Right.
Yeah. And the same ones will be used to go into in this space right here.
So you've got 4 on each side vibrational isolators and then 4 or 6 for that wooden plate.
Yeah, something like that. And Martin had skewed his towards the front and let it hang out back here. I think I don't know why. I'm assuming that letting this plate hang out and have some vibration towards the tail sounded good. So
it could be exactly for those purposes of soundboard.
Yeah. So back on track. Are you ready? How are we?
Wait. Did we come to any conclusions about anything?
No, we just went over all the different things we need to go over. We took a tour through all of them.
Well, I started with number 3.
You started with number 3, right? So.
So what do you think about putting it on the end then? Because that would leave the whole front open for a logo or for anything.
It's the same to me, because you can adjust the things, you can reach in there, start the thing. It'll be occluded by the paper while it's running. But while it's running, you've already set everything, and you're going to go, right?
You shouldn't need to get in there,
Yeah.
and you could get in there if you just lifted the paper up if you had to.
Yeah, so that's not a bad idea at all. And in terms of the complexity, I mean, I got plenty of. This doesn't look like a lot of room, but in terms of like being able to put circuit boards in back here, we got plenty of room. This can be its own thing.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And so in terms of assembly, right, it's going to be a little. Doing it that way would be a little easier because we don't have to then muck with this part, and this part could be clean.
And you could just have one access door to get into all the innards.
Well, here you wouldn't even need it.
Well, I mean all the electronics could be in that door, and then you can remove that door to get to the motor if you needed to.
Yeah, well, so let's talk about that. I do have a thought on that. So here, you see I put all these holes on. These will be probably, these standoffs will be probably male on this side, and then these plates will be tapped, and then female on this side, so a screw will come in from the left. I'm pointing to my monitor like you can see it.
Yeah, I was wondering when nothing was happening.
Yeah, so that hole right there, so there'll be an M4 screw coming through there. We'll countersink that. I want them to be countersunk so that the head is flush, and there's a washer in there. And then in order to get to all of these innards, this plate comes off. Right, so we'll build this whole box. It'll be glued together. Pull off this plate here, and you can access the motor for tensioning the belt, and any connection that happens in here will all be there. It's not going to be like a quick easy on, easy off sort of thing, but for maintenance, this will be a bolt-on plate, and everything else can be glued up. Makes
sense. And from the front, would it be attached, glued, or attached by screws as well?
Hey, Tom, thanks for joining us, man. I think we'd probably have screws, but maybe also glue it together.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of the assembly idea, because if we do have some connections, there is another consideration, which is do we want there to be any controls over the audio functions?
Yeah, I was
Meaning,
going to ask about that. Does this thing have a microphone built in?
Well, so it has a couple of contact mics on it.
yeah,
but-
that's how the sound gets out.
Yeah, but it could be that how like when you put the paper in at the beginning, it hits every single note when you put the paper in, and it might be that you want to be able to mute it so that you can load paper and get something cued without it making noise. So we might want to have between the contact mics, which sit back here ish, right between there, have them run to a thing and then have a switch here someplace so that you can mute the instrument.
I don't know that loading thing. I think that's an actual check to make sure your music box didn't break a tine. I think that's got a function.
you're saying it's not a bug, it's a feature.
I would think so.
Well, I mean, because you're putting paper into where the same way that that all the notes trip because of the paper is the same reason why they trip on the front edge of the paper, right? I'm just saying that's a noise. Every single time I've seen this, and Tom is now in the chat, so if you want to weigh in on that, you can. It makes a noise every time you load it. Every single note will trigger. So I'm just saying, if you wanted to be able to be at this instrument and mute it while you're loading it, we would
Or mute it while it's playing. Even, I mean, it's not going to be a loop like the MMX, but
we should have muting levers.
It could have one little baby muting lever.
I want to put forward an idea, and you can definitely say this is bad because I think it's a bad idea. But you guys ever seen those do nothing boxes where it has like a metal switch and you like flip the switch? I was thinking like, what if you had all the controls for this thing would be like a row of these little metal switches on the side? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you could switch them, kind of like old fashioned style.
Yeah.
Like those metal, nice little clicky.
Yeah, metal dip switch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, we need to come up with some more functions for those then.
Right. Well, so if we do
you could have muting lever. You could set your BPM by like flipping some set of switches, like encoding the number in binary, or something.
Right. Tom is suggesting a huge LED equalizer on the side.
That's interesting.
That's given that it's an analog thing. That's you have to have a mic. There's a whole stack of equipment to go in front of that EQ.
Right. So a muting function for that maybe would be good. I don't know. I don't really know if that is used as a check from Music Box, but as a musician, I would maybe find that useful before a concert starts to make sure your instrument is working.
Right. Yeah. And the of course, if you do have it muted, then one of the possible ways that you could have this thing fail would be to hit the start button while the mics are muted. So it would be nice, since we have a microprocessor on it, to have a indicator that you're on mute. But in any case, that's the point of that conversation is that we have this right here. If we put the stepper motor, the driver, the Arduino, the LCD, everything up here, right? If the control panel is on this side, or if it's on this side, right here, doesn't really matter. Everything is still pretty self-contained, right? As soon as we start pulling in the pickups, now we have wiring that's outside of this metal module, right? Because even if the holes were over here, all the electronics would be on this, and we would just cut out something to mate, right? So the other plate would be behind it, and we just have it. It would stick out. It would be mounted to the surface of this thing, and it would stick through the wood. So it wouldn't be attached to the wood; it would be sticking through it.
Couldn't we have it go down through the machine out the bottom and into a leg to hide it?
Yeah. You mean the wiring?
The mic wiring.
Yeah. Well, no, the mic wiring and the power is going to have to come in someplace. Yeah.
Right.
And so
rather than sticking out of the side, to be less obtrusive and seem more like there are no electronics on it. I mean, obviously it has to be mic'd somehow, but to sort of hide that as a little illusion of this is just a baby tiny little music box that's playing a song here. I'm thinking that the umbilical cord isn't obvious, like, and it won't be obvious on the MMX if you're not in the back corner of it. But
well, there's so much
hiding
so
that
much
would
else
be
to see. Yeah, so I kind of think that what we can do is we can give a central mounting thing there, and then a bolt pattern like a Visa, like 100mm. Isn't like display mounts 100mm by 100mm? Is that the Visa standard?
You're not talking to me, are you?
Come on, you know computer displays.
What are you talking about?
on.
I don't know any of the words that you just said.
Remember how you just said you used to work at Circuit City?
I never said any such thing.
Okay, I forgive you then.
Okay, wait. This website says that there are 2 hole patterns. I guess they usually have two squares of holes in the back, 100mm and 75mm.
Well, 75 fits better.
What are we talking about? I'm sorry, I got distracted by.
This is how to mount it, right? So
75 is basically 3 inches.
Yeah.
On what? On a single stand. Oh, I hate this idea of one single mic stand. It just seems so top heavy and tippy to me, but I guess if it's got a big base, it doesn't matter. Big heavy base.
Yeah, my idea is that I think we can just give him, if we give him a standard bolt pattern, he can use whatever, right? We can give him both probably.
Is there like a standard mic stand interface?
Yeah, there is. It's like
a cylinder. It's like a hole, right?
Yeah, and it's a fractional. Someone want to Google that for me? It's a fractional number.
Why am I picturing? Well, let me show you.
If you look at the bottom of this microphone that I have in my, see, there's a thread down there. Oops, my cable. There's a thread. It's a pretty big something, and that's a standard mic thread. Hope I didn't destroy everyone's audio ears. I just said I hope I didn't destroy everyone's audio ears. That's
as opposed to all those other ears that we have. No, I think it's fair.
It's all right. I wasn't listening anyways.
Oh, thanks. My visual ears really took offense. That's yeah.
So I'm trying to find an image.
Ears in a non-gender specific sort of way.
No, in any specific way. Yeah.
So
I'm trying to find an image of the legs that I'm picturing for this.
Non-human specific, yeah. For people on YouTube, we were chatting on Discord earlier that I needed Maureen to be my wingman today, and that I was going to refuse to call her a wing person because it's a role.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'm happy being a wingman, man.
Yeah.
Okay,
like
here's what I'm.
The most noble of professions, right?
So the leg that I'm thinking of for this little box, instead of a single one, is if you can do an image search for a hairpin leg side table.
Okay.
So no wing individual.
No wing individual. What is it called? Hairpin?
Hairpin leg side table. I'm sure I could just share my screen or something.
If you did it in Discord, I could, yes. Okay, I see
those. So
yeah,
now
those fit a cool design aesthetic. I like that.
Yeah. The question. Oh my God! I lost your. I lost the screen. Where did it go? So they would each would screw on, and they would probably nest for travel. And depending on how tall, have we had anybody figure out dimensions of how high this sits off the floor yet?
No.
Okay. Well, we should be able to figure that out from the reference. I just tried scrolling down on the Google Images, watching the stream.
Is it not good?
No, I'm just saying. I just wanted to see more.
Oh, you were trying to control this. Okay. Shall I scroll for you, Maureen?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Just see. There's one where there's an underside where you can see kind of how they mount in. It's just a little metal bracket. I mean, these probably could be orderable. Even.
Yeah, they might even be an IKEA thing or something.
Oh.
So that's a design choice that I'm not necessarily totally comfortable making because this is not my thing, but
Right.
I think it would fit and I think it would look nice. Yeah, there you go, little L's.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that could be another option, is just specking out a set of 4 legs and putting the holes there. I mean, those are way bigger than this little box, so maybe.
What if you had 3 legs though? Think about that.
Yeah. Well, I think to this point, and 3 would be a little more stable, but I mean to the point here.
How would you do 3 on something this long and skinny?
Because 3 you don't have to level. It's always.
Oh wait, go back to that other one real quick.
Mm-hmm.
The other window.
What? This is the other window.
Look at that. Move your mouse up a little bit. That little skinny table up at the right. You know what I'm saying?
3
I missed
points of constraint is the minimum to keep 3-dimensional.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Stability.
But consider this: maybe we don't need 3-dimensional stability. Maybe we want this thing mounted in one of those like space gimbals, so it's like rotating constantly.
Well, that gets back to my Visa mount, right? You put a Visa mount on it, and the entire world of like monitor arms or all sorts of other stuff, accessories pops up, right? You could do anything.
Monitor arm. This is gonna be motion controlled. You know, why don't we just mount it to a drone? Didn't that come up before?
Dude,
like, make sure it's drone mountable.
Let's do that.
Yeah, but Tim, this is an audio thing, and you want to have custom lights in it,
Yes.
which are probably going to be controlled by a board. Doing radio-controlled lights and audio equipment is a pain in the ass.
Yes, let's do it.
No. Oh, I've had to deal with those systems. It's not fun.
Do it.
Why is it bad? This is like the entire thing of stage production is having radio-controlled lights. Why is it bad? Why hasn't someone figured it out?
Radio control.
Well, it's not radio controlled. It's all wired, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you have your light, and then you go to a central board, and then you can branch out to a mini panel, and you can walk around with that mini panel on stage. Your light is hardwired.
Like, just do it from your phone, right?
Equipment. Yeah, you can do it from your phone, but your phone goes back to a commands board, and that along a wire or fiber gets to the light.
Hey, look at this. So this is a thing that goes from T-slotted framing, which means you can build anything underneath it, to a Visa mount. And we've confirmed it's 100 millimeter and 75.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not that we're going to be T-slotting the music box, but...
T-slot
is
amazing.
If you wanted to make an entire stage out of T-slots, like rapid construction in the middle of the desert type of scenario.
Alexa, play me All Is Well. Sorry, go ahead. Well, you could do anything, right? That's the idea, is that with the if we give him a central mounting location here and all these holes, he can figure it out.
Tim,
dude,
right?
I just found on image search that you can get a microphone mount that is a Visa mount. So I'm on board with this idea 100% now.
There you go. There we go.
On the topic of that riff in the beginning when it checks all notes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it only me that thinks that is actually kind of charming?
No, I like it too.
No, I'm just saying if you wanted to. Let's say if you had, the thing is that if you decided you didn't want that. Let's say if you wanted this thing to start playing during the outro of another song, right? You're going from one hit to another, and you are having a roadie load this thing, right? That's all I'm saying. Is that you might want to have an option to mute it. And there's other options, right? I mean, it's going to go to a soundboard where the person could just pull the slider down and mute it, right? So.
So Tom Q in the chat said you don't even need to use a microprocessor for muting. I've done mute switches for mics before, just using a double pull ? Toggle switch, one breaking the mic input and one powering an LED, which is nice visual feedback on a dark stage.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so we got leg mounting options. That's great.
Yep. So let's do this. Let's edit art. What happens to that?
I'm still confused how you would do 3 legs on this piece. Like, how would that be stable?
it wouldn't be the most stable thing.
And I guess
And
I was
you
thinking
could
that
have-
you could,
but it
whatever
is
you would do
doable.
would start with a metal square that has the 100mm holes, and then just weld some legs onto there.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
my sort of.
As far as we're concerned, though, for this design, right, if there is nothing electrical or anything else happening with this bottom piece right here, except for the fact that it is where you mount stuff, then, you know, we don't necessarily even have to put these holes in here, but, you know, we can reserve this for mount stuff to this body, right? And
Yeah.
and we're fine. You know, you could drill, if, you know, the mic wires want to come out here along this pole and snake around, and the power wires want to do the same thing, you know, fine. No big
I'm
deal.
sure there must be poles that, like mic stands. Maybe not, because that's maybe a little annoying. But like a lamp, you know how the stuff goes through the lamp pole and then it comes out the bottom. That's what I'm envisioning.
Yep. I just
Okay,
broke
should we
everything.
move on?
Oh.
Oh.
So
Maybe
hey,
we're not
this is a SolidWorks question. So, Andre, check this out. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? I'm going to edit this part right here. This part is a mirror of the other part, because I did that because, you know, it seemed like it would be easier, right? But now I want to edit the mirrored part and put in my little room for an LCD display. Exit that out, and oops, the sketch is gone. Damn it! When I was doing that earlier, that sketch showed up on the parent.
Yeah, that's interesting. So it mirrors it like.
But it didn't do it.
Logically-
It didn't do that now. So this is Murphy's law for live streams. Like I can't reproduce
Okay,
the
so
problem.
it is interesting because you have those little dash caret things next to the features which have been mirrored, presumably, and so maybe then, if you had a thing after that, it doesn't copy it. But if you put it before, maybe I don't really know.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's interesting.
Well, no.
that's
Yep.
not
See
coming
there.
from mirror.
See there you go. Look,
Okay, I'm
it showed up in
getting
the. It showed up in the parent.
Yeah, sorry.
So, there used to be a thing in SolidWorks where if you wanted to, I'm just going to hide this one now, so I don't break stuff. But it used to be that if I wanted to mirror a component, I could make a the plane. No, the thing I went to. Right
You
plane.
should be able to still do that. You should be able to do.
There was an option for making a new part,
Yeah.
but it's not there anymore.
Well, the way I used to do it is like you save it and then you link it back in. It becomes a new part. Save as.
Oh, well, yeah, that's...
Save as mirror, save as.
It,
I mean, I don't know.
it used to be
probably
that
not
this
the best way to
dialog
do
box... I was hoping you had a better answer for me, because it used to be that this
Wow.
dialog had three. The mirror dialog had three parts to it. So, you picked a plane, and then there was a third thing, and then you could pick how to... Do we have any of our other SolidWorks experts in our chat?
I wish I could open SolidWorks to screw around with it, but it is not working for me. So
Is it still trying to update?
I don't know what it's trying to do. I just had it open, but now when I click on it, it says SolidWorks took too long to open. It doesn't.
All right. Well, let's now that we're an hour into
Also,
this.
I can't see any of the files on the stupid thing, so there's no.
Right. Okay.
I feel like maybe I should start another jar for SolidWorks used to be able to do XYZ.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's just a jar for our own incompetence. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or there's a jar for
Every time Tim
there's a
says that.
yeah. Well, so the really interesting jar is the you know what Fusion does this better jar.
Yeah,
Which
Whoa, yeah, that's a brutal jar. Don't want to let our bosses at SolidWorks see that one.
yeah.
They maybe they'll take it on as a challenge.
I've only said that once, I think, though.
So far.
Yeah. And there have been quite a bit of, oh, thank you, I love how SolidWorks does X. That happens all the time. Who's playing with Thomas the Train right now?
It's Eric.
I am.
You might be on a
Yeah.
train.
My
Yep.
no, it's my
Just
7
living in the
alternators.
train.
Living in the train. All right, so let's dive into this topic. How are we doing the spokes on this thing?
Well, if we want it to look like the MMX, we have an answer right there. And
Well, do we want it to look like the MMX or like the?
well, let's talk about shipping for a little bit. Did you guys pick a case size?
No, well, I thought that we kind of decided that since Martin's touring with a 5-ton marble machine now, that he's not worried about overhead luggage restrictions.
No, but still, it is a restriction on what can go in there. And if we have a big old wheel and a big old box and maybe some big old legs, like, are we gonna have enough space for that? Because I was thinking about that idea that was that in our first meeting when we talked about having like 5 circles around the bigger circle area that the paper would actually be around, and then just a flat like.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember?
And then we talked about having a planetary gear system in there.
Yeah. So I just if the mounts what I'm trying to get to is if we can get rid of having a circle of a large diameter inside the box. I mean, depending on the size of the box, maybe it would fit because it could be in there. But if it all disassembled so that it was just a circle and that was, screwed into another circle, those could come apart, those could go flat, those could lay down on top of the box itself.
Mm-hmm.
But if the circle is too huge, then finding a way to use arms to make just basically all the spokes of the wheel, but not the wheel itself, and then the paper would make the wheel or something, then I'm still thinking of the collapsible wheel design, which is a problem because we're not doing that anymore.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, we could, and there's a reason to think about that. But obviously, this wheel was Windows key plus. Does that work over here? No. Am I in the right window? No. Control plus. There we go. So this was made so that it was designed to fold down, right? Oops. Come on. I did not mean to do that. But if it actually doesn't take up that much more room in the box. Because if this thing comes off.
No, I'm talking about if we're going bigger. Are we thinking about going bigger with that big wheel and then have a little wheel?
No, I mean, look at. We came up with this design based on the size of that other wheel.
Okay.
And I like the design freedom that comes along with not having to take it apart. But that said, I mean, again, thinking of the aesthetics here, right? There's that, and then now let's find. Whoops, where do we go for image search?
So Tom Q just posted in the chat on Discord. In the Music Box channel about using a collapsible leg. That is the other place I was going to go with the single little legs. And he found one from IKEA and it's black, which would make the Music Box look like it's floating on stage, assuming that the background's going to be black, which I actually kind of like the sound of. So having collapsible legs again. I mean, we can. My point is we can never keep the fact that this has to be shipped some way, and is easy to transport. We can't ever lose sight of that fact.
Right. Well, let's assume that we're keeping it like a MMX wheel, right? So we have this as our reference here.
5 spokes, yeah. And I like the way, not that we'd have to cut out plywood to get to the glue layer, but I like the way that he made those little.
So I have an idea about that, by the way. I'll just say it so that because otherwise I won't remember. Which is that if we can actually build this thing up, we can actually laminate it. We can do a base layer that's structural, and then we can laminate on veneers to get the same. Again, I'm trying to point to my screen with my finger. We can get this kind of raised look and the deep look, but not by going down to a part, but by building up
In wood?
in wood.
I guess that's something else we should be talking about. Are we staying with wood? I mean, if we're designing this to be with the MMXT, like if it's going to be going on tour, the idea is to try and pitch something to have Martin go on tour with.
Yeah.
We don't know what those gears are going to be made out of, do we? Yet.
No.
And veneer, so like everybody says how plywood is just, there's going to be too much wear, and the gears made out of plywood have too many issues for longevity and stuff. And maybe that's not really an issue because we'll be swapping, we'll have the ability to swap stuff out. You know, someone could be inspecting here and there. But metal gears have been brought up. Metal gears with a plywood lamination on top somehow, like that just sounds like it's going to fall apart to me.
Right.
And hand laminating something with those little skinny little sections.
Yeah, so I have a dirty secret though, which is that in the shop behind me, I have a composite shop. So you would basically, I have like the little all the materials to lay it out flat and then laminate it and then put it under a bag and vacuum it down so that it's like totally flat.
Okay.
Were it not for that, I wouldn't suggest that because there's no way to keep it flat.
Why wouldn't you just CNC it though? I don't understand.
Oh, I'm just saying you could, but it's a question of, are we going to try to make it? You see, I gave up and booted up Fusion. If you wanted to get a more the verb adjective I'm thinking of is like click spring, right? You know that channel, Mo? Anybody else?
It sounds familiar, but I don't remember if I watched anything.
It's the guy who's making the Antikythera mechanism.
Oh yeah, okay.
He's an Australian guy named Chris, and he doesn't put out nearly enough content recently. I've watched everything he's done. He's kind of back on it. Yeah, he took like a year break, but anyway, but he has made some. He makes some stuff here. It's like, I cannot believe someone put that much effort into that. It's just like amazing that he makes all of his own bolts. Yeah, and it's like, oh, this is a great chance for me to use a handheld graver. It's like, you rock, buddy. Go. I will never do this way ever.
Yeah.
But good on you. Yeah. But anyway, so and this kind of comes back to, so I was having a conversation after the stream a couple weeks ago with Ace Crystals, and the conversation was like, part of the thing that makes this aesthetic cool, right? Or even this aesthetic cool, right? Is that what you do not expect engineering from Martin, right? There's a kind of set of expectations, right? That is, you don't expect him to be a good engineer. He's a musician, and the fact that he got away with, excuse me, pardon me. The fact that he got away with making this is amazing, right? If it was some engineer guy and they came up with this, you'd be like, dude, it sucks. You could do better than that, right? So there's a danger for us, like, right? If we just give this thing the standard engineering treatment, there is a danger. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, they made a new music box. Yeah, these, you have 100-person team of engineers across 4 continents. Of course they could do that, right? We need to come up with something that is a reach even for us.
You're saying we need to, well, but the question is what is the thing that's out of reach for you guys as engineers, the artistry? Like, not that you have to be even more cooler engineers, but like, is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, and what Tom has put in the chat, it was jankify it, right? So one of the ways you could do it would be to dumb it down, right? To make it look artificially more janky.
Oh, but that's fake. You can't do. That's the thing.
Yes.
You can't do that. Like, it's either you're actually literally cutting it out with a hacksaw because you don't have any other tools,
Yeah.
or you're faking it. And
Yep.
that is something that has never happened with Wintergatan
Well,
ever.
Well,
Like-
Okay, can
yeah,
I put-
he's
can I
never
put in
intentionally
my-
made things that are janky. He has made things that are janky, but it's not because
Oh.
he was trying to. It wasn't a
Right.
design choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I put in my 2 cents?
Yes,
Please.
please.
So, well,
I think that
Wait,
when
let
Martin-
Eric
Yeah,
talk.
let Eric talk,
Oh.
man. He just cleared the room
I'm
for
not
himself,
him,
and you
so I
read
can't
over
hear
him. Oh, you can't hear him?
So, yeah, no, too loud. So we could yankify it, or what we could do, or I think what we should do is make it look organic.
Mm.
And well,
Sorry.
we could.
Way to
I
keep an
mean,
open mind,
it
Maureen.
would fit the MMX aesthetic. I mean, the side frame is sort of organic since we've done some FEA on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
If we
there's
did
a
the same
level.
thing to the music box.
There's a level of making things look organic that actually takes a huge amount of design to pull it off, right? I'm thinking
See,
like,
it's a reach for us.
yeah,
Reach for us.
yeah. I think
That
that's,
is a good engineering challenge, but I don't think that's appropriate for this because what we have here is a musician who's trying to be an engineer, and we have to keep that aesthetic with this same thing, not an engineer trying to be an artist. Even though this is like our project, it still has to be in the same family as the MMX because it wasn't our original design. We're just, playing around with it and maybe making it, well, my original idea for the aesthetics was, we have the original Marvin machine and the original music box, and they're the janky ones. And then we took the MMX, Martin took the MMX up a step. I mean, clearly up a step. It definitely looks cooler and it's more stable and everything. So definitely that was a step up. So we need to think, what is the equivalent step up here? And artistically, I would say making this look like the MMX. And not worry about, what phase 2 is going to look like. If everything's going to be all cyber metal, then we don't know where we're going there. So we can only stay within the artistic design constraints that we already are familiar with, which leads me to say we just throw a freaking planetary gear right there, like maybe even with gear teeth, and then unnecessary gear teeth. It would be aesthetic, but that would allow the two designs to talk to each other. If you go organic with this, it's certainly would be a fun design challenge, but it's not going to be in the same family as all these, like the way that everything else looks for the whole Wintergatan band. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's true.
Are you guys watching me be completely retarded with trying to do a circular pattern?
Not really. I was just trying to screw around with my own SolidWorks over
I'm
here,
just
but now I
trying
can watch you.
to.
I cannot, for some reason, get this thing to circular sketch pattern. I can't get anything other than the origin.
The origin, that's weird. That
You need
is
to-
very
It
strange.
makes me very
You
angry.
need to set your pivot in CG land. That's what you need to do.
I'm trying to. No, so but back to the conversation, which is that what I'm coming to is that like things like adding a little bit of depth on the spokes, right? Like is done on these wheels, right?
Mhm.
More than appropriate for as a stylistic touch, but I think we can do a little bit more, and that's why I was saying like I could do this like lamination, like instead of like going through, like we could make layers of this out of pre-preg carbon fiber, which I have in a freezer in the room right there, right, and actually build up something like super cool, right? And I think that what makes it interesting for me as someone who is doing this without pay, what the reward for me is to like add features that some of them can be aesthetic. I don't think aesthetics for the sake of aesthetics is a bad thing. But and some of them can be like super functional and awesome, right? I'd love to have both of those in this project.
Yeah.
I'm glad you agree. Now that we've solved that.
So
Now that we've solved that, let's talk about
What?
why I can't do
No,
a slot.
what are the
movie.
What are the laminated? You said carbon fiber. Is that where you're going with
Yeah.
this?
Well, no, I mean, so so you could, right?
Okay, yeah, we could.
You know, if you wanted to make a carbon fiber like this part right here, we could make it like carbon fiber spokes, and you know, and carbon fiber, you're using epoxy. You can glue anything with epoxy, so you could have a carbon fiber to wood laminate that is lightweight and rigid and dimensionally accurate, and I have the tools to do it here.
Okay, so always
I'm not
the
saying we have
choices
to do
need to
it.
come, but the choices should always come from a specific purpose. So if the specific purpose of doing that would be to make sure we make a wooden gear that can withstand a wooden looking gear that can withstand the rigors of travel and being thrown out of an airplane and dropped by stagehands and everything. I'm dissing stagehands, and I really shouldn't be, because I know they take really good hand and stuff. But you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
they're
accidents
a parallel.
happen.
They're a parallel but equal race. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is, when you travel, stuff gets broken. It's just that's just what happens. So, it needs to be rigid. So if what you're saying is we can make something that looks like it lives in the same universe as the MMX, but it's super strong and light and just resilient. That is how I like the engineering to drive the design.
Yeah.
Rather than you guys trying to come up with something that looks cool. We have our look. We know what the MMX looks like. So I don't think we should mess around with that. I think we should try to make this just super. The engineering is more going to be like the invisible stuff. That's where the cool engineering stuff happens,
Right.
I think.
Yeah, I think I'm there with you. The coolness of some of the MMX is, it's an engine you can see running, right?
And always with an eye towards in front of an audience to make the music more visceral. That's the reason. That's why Martin added that extra little crank that does nothing onto the gear of the music box, is so you could see it moving.
Right.
There's no purpose other than a visual aid.
Right.
So,
yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. Lost where I was going with that.
No, it's true. I guess the question is that do we I guess we're not going to jankify it, but I think we do. Well, I guess the question is, are we aiming for something that's even more detail? Because let's say, because Martin has not asked us to do this, right? We're doing this.
Not at all. And
as far as I know, he doesn't even know we're doing this, right? Hi, Martin. Are you watching?
The history of
Type
Martin.
in the chat. Call me.
The history of doing things without Martin knowing about them, there's not a huge good track record about those ideas being accepted by him. We can list very many examples of that. But so we shouldn't really think about that too much. But he will be able to recognize his own design aesthetic. He will.
Right.
And I think he'll be able to appreciate that.
Yeah, no, here's the thing, right? Let's say that, so right now we're just designing this because we want to practice with SolidWorks and we're doing a project, right? And it's fun.
Multi-purposes,
we need excuses to hang out with each other anyway.
And we can dream that someday this would actually be on a stage with people, but that doesn't matter if it ever happens.
Correct. So let's just, that's the disclaimer, right? Is that this may or may not ever be made. But, part of me likes to think that we'll make it, and I can't think about it other than like we're gonna make this, right?
Yes.
Even though I haven't committed
and you
to
shouldn't.
that.
That's the exercise. If I was gonna make this, how would I make it? That's it.
Yeah. So the question then is, if we're gonna make it, do you? God, that looks horrible. I guess the
so
question.
what I would
let me pull up.
What I would suggest is bringing in one of the planetary gears and tracing it.
All right, see this? This is the kind of stuff that Chris on Click Spling
Like
Click
teeny tiny
spring.
gears with the beautiful
Teeny
metal.
tiny
Yeah, I've seen a
gears,
couple of
they're
his videos.
glued.
Yeah.
He's got this kind of stuff
Quick on
happening.
Chris Spring. Also,
Chris-
we don't have to trace a planetary gear. Remember that I have the software that actually generated those.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. Like, just bring it in and copy it is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, I
All right. So let me try to make the statement or the question right, which is that.
Just
Oh,
give
wait,
me,
that's
just
the
give me
card
step by
press,
step what we
right?
need
Yep.
and I'll fix it.
I
Yeah.
have seen that one.
This
That
is
was insane.
ridiculous, right?
I
So-
loved what, like, when he was making those identical snakes. I'm sorry for fangirling a little bit.
Yeah.
That was psycho.
And then he cut them in half, right? I was just like, oh. Anyway, it's like Bob Ross putting a huge line through a painting, right, to make a tree.
Yeah, and then it always looks better with the tree. Well, maybe not always, but like
No.
usually it's all right.
Yeah. So you
G'day.
get what I'm saying about like click springing it, like part of me, like, it's like, let's say if this is like a fan gift to Martin, right? That maybe we should add this kind of level of detail to it. You know, make the appreciation we have for the content he's making evident in the quality of the implement that we make. Right? Rather than just making it to the requirements, make it like I can't believe they did that. Right?
I'm not sure
that's my
if this
question.
is the right project for that.
Okay.
Because it's
probably
such
gonna
a
be like that, 'cause
simple
it's gonna have this
thing.
nice motor and everything.
Yeah.
What Martin is missing is robustness and reliability. If we can show him that we can make something so rock solid that it will never break or have any issues or anything, that's his problem that he is aspiring to. That's the engineering goal of him, is to like try and figure out this puzzle of how do you guys do that kind of thing. You know, using this as an example that way. So hold on one second. Eric, were you trying to get in on the conversation where we were talking about click spring? I thought I heard something.
No, I just said g'day.
G'day.
So
I'll
what?
see you
Let me try
later.
to. Let's go from the other end. Tim, what is it about the click spring stuff that you are so wanting to do with this project? Because that was a lot of beautiful machining
Mm-hmm.
that I'm seeing, like beautiful metal machining.
Yeah.
And I'm not necessarily seeing this music box in metal.
No, but I'm saying like there's a gestalt, right, of there's like a standard of care, right, that he puts into what he does in metal. This would be a different thing. Like, for example, with these plates here on top and bottom, right? You can put two pieces of wood together and glue them and staple through them, right? But butt joint and staple is like the easiest way to put two pieces of wood together, right?
Right.
But there are people who, like in woodworking, have traditions of joinery which just go so far beyond the functional. They make the joinery itself
like doing those crazy dovetails. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Have you seen those nutso ones that are not just a simple trapezoid? Yeah, like that kind. That's what you're talking about. But how do you do that? See, you have to be true to engineering. Like the spreadsheet that you're showing me with all the math and everything, like that is something I can't do as a non-engineer. Like that is where the beauty of like what engineering is shines through, not how do we make a 5-spoked wheel look cool. You know what I'm trying to say?
Well, it has to be both, right? The functional aspects of it are there.
No, but let's talk about what are the strengths.
If we only do the functional aspects, then it's going to be boring.
I don't know, because I think there's a lot of room for improvement on the MMX and the music box that needs an engineer's guiding hand to make more. I keep using the word robust. There's a better word here. I mean, we just need something that, I don't know, is just not going to break.
You're right. I mean, part of what we're talking about here is giving Martin something that's so really reliable, and that's a utilitarian sort of thing, right?
Mm-hmm. And so, like, the function of engineering is to make stuff that works right? Like, Is
Yeah,
that
but
if we're
that's
getting
why-
down to the core?
But see, now you're having the Cybertruck versus other type of engineering debate, right?
No,
Martin was
well,
saying
yeah.
he loves the fact that they started with, hey, we're going to use 3mm stainless, and so they designed this truck around this design decision they made way earlier on because they're going to use 3mm stainless. So, Martin certainly likes that. He likes that kind of functional thing.
Okay.
But that's kind of what I'm saying is that if you just let the engineers build it, it's going to look like a Humvee, right? A Humvee is designed by engineers, and there's no designers in the mix.
Sure, but like if you're wanting to flex as an engineer, like I'm saying, go to your strengths.
Yeah,
don't try to be artistic.
Yeah, I don't think that's the thing, right? I don't think we need to flex as an engineer, because the way you would flex as an engineer and be like, I've built this with platinum contacts and like a clear path servo motor, which by the way was my first inclination, right? That was me flexing as an engineer, is to like get these crazy electrical systems and just way overbuild it, right?
No idea what you just said.
Yeah,
No clue.
there you go. So, and maybe that's the same response Martin would have too. It's just like, okay, great, you made it with.
I don't know. He's tapped into a lot more stuff than I
Yeah.
am, so don't take me as an example.
This frame is made out of 150 micron thick graphene sheeting
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. Reinforced with Kevlar composite, of course.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But what you were saying about his obsession with the Tesla truck thing, what is it called?
Cybertruck.
The Cybertruck.
Right. I think there is a way. So, he was pointing out the shelves in his room and saying what a cool DFM that was, and then talking about the Cybertruck and stuff. I think there's something there, actually. I think there's something there that we could play to, where we could make a really cool functional design, not necessarily with aesthetics, but with something about Martin's interpretation of what DFM means. That's somewhere in there. I think we could do something cool with
His
that.
interpretation of it.
Hey,
It's just a funny way of like this. His misinterpretation of this thing, which is a real thing. Let's just go with that.
It's close. It's pretty close. He's mixing efficiency with design for manufacturer.
Yeah.
Because they're not exactly the same thing. But that's okay. I'm just saying, because that's why having this all fit into one box. You know what? Okay, so he couldn't get it to fit in all one box. He couldn't.
He never did, and it was over the weight limit.
So if we could get it to fit in a box and under the weight limit,
that was my original. Yeah,
that would freaking blow his mind. If that's how you want to figure out how to do that, that would be how to do it.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I agree.
Do what he can't do because you're engineers. There, the gauntlet has been thrown.
I mean,
that would be very cool, Tom.
I hate you for saying that, but you're right. Because that's actually really hard.
Yep. There you go. There's your nice challenge. And he would appreciate that. You know he would.
Okay.
And we could make that look so not janky. Oh my god. Like his is so super janky. It could like all click into place and be like just beautiful. Oh my god. Can we do that?
I'm fully on board with this. I think this is a great idea.
Okay.
Tim's brain is turning.
Yeah, I almost need to just move along, because if you've paralyzed my ADD to thinking about like how do we actually do that.
It's very easy. You just delete the design that we've made so far.
No.
And start from scratch.
No, it's. I think we should keep. I mean, all the research we've done on motors and whatever and everything. But then,
Well, the motor part's done. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
we're just
that's fine.
we're just starting the. By the way, I wanted to ask this question, which is that the programming wheel has a 5-spoke design. The flywheel also has a very unique.
That's the curvy one.
Yep.
Yeah. And the curvy design is on the hand crank and the flywheel and one of the pulleys, right? And those are all metal. So that's like the metal gear design, and then the wooden gear design is all 5-spoked. Am I remembering that correctly, everybody?
I think so.
Yeah, I brought up Fusion so I could do that. So where are we? Assembly check.
Oh, and if we made the hand crank be an actual hand crank that you could switch off from the motor, so he could go there and like start it if he wanted
'cause
to.
It's supposed to be connected to the hand crank on the thing, right?
Like on the music box?
Yeah, right.
That little
Is that
one
how
is
it's
only
connected
connected to the motor.
Well, look, yeah, I mean, you're right. So this is a design element that's come up many times. And actually, let's say if we make this modular, so it could be disassembled and reassembled for whatever. I could see this breaking down into 4 parts. That would then end up nesting, actually.
How about, what are those, you know, it's a camera, right? A camera lens thing where they all close. An iris, yeah. And I've seen doors like that in movies, and they always like freak me out because I'm like, aren't those just going to chop somebody in half?
Yeah, like in The Mandalorian, where he actually kills somebody.
I haven't
using
seen
the
it
iris
yet.
door.
No.
It's like in the first like 5 minutes of the first scene. Yeah, you're okay.
Okay. What? I got distracted by ignoring you. But just doing something that looks cool, like it expands and then it clicks, and then you know it's done. You know, like.
Yeah. That's gonna be.
Oh my god! I missed a ton of chat. Let me go catch up.
I'm just imagining like there's a button on the side.
Oh!
You click, and then like the wheel just goes, and it transformifies into place.
Yeah, if you could get it to work so that it's like counterweighted somehow, and like the weight it's a mechanical. Push the button
like
and then it
switchblade.
mechanically opens.
Like it just comes out like a.
I would
if you're
be.
in the way
I
of
would
this
be.
thing, you're dead.
Don't stick your finger in there.
Oh yeah, no. I would be very for having an iris mechanism in there. Want to know why?
Why?
Because you've already made one?
No, because my visual disability is actually due to a genetic disease. That means I don't have an iris.
You
Oh.
don't?
No, I have totally black eyes.
Wow. Cool.
That's weird.
I mean,
Wait,
not
wait,
cool,
so
but like.
If you get one of
It's a
those,
horrible joke I just thought of, and I'm putting it so
Yeah,
far
if
If
down.
you get one of
No,
those,
dude.
what do you call them? The lenses that you put on your eyes that have the fake iris on there. Does that work?
Contact lenses.
Yeah.
Sorta does, but also not as efficient as sunglasses. Yeah, it just means I'm a bit light sensitive.
Oh, but it doesn't help you see better if you have a fake iris in there.
No, it doesn't.
Does
And
the
then there's
iris
also-
just close and open to let light in? Is that what an iris's function in an eye
It
is?
just does. It just does light regulation stuff.
But think about like with a camera aperture, right? So you get more depth of field. Things get blurry when you have different aperture settings. So it also impacts your ability to focus at a certain distance, right?
Not with a biological eye, no.
Oh no, okay.
No, but also.
How about with your
considering
cyborg eye?
it's,
How does it affect your cyborg eye?
Actually, it doesn't, and I would very much. Could you build me a cyborg eye?
I will. This is the next project. After this test project, we're going straight into Eric's cyborg eye.
Yeah, because you like how I use my computer all zoomed in. What if
Yep.
I could do that, but like in real life?
Yeah, Do it.
Well, I mean, I was just thinking, like, how about like an actual functional eye, so you don't have to do that. That would be good.
Yeah, functional light could also be cool. But you know, like cyborg, cool.
I mean,
Yeah.
cyborgs are cool. That's just, you know, all there is about it.
Oh, there's an awesome comment in the chat from PhD. Am I pronouncing that right? The wheel looks like an old reel projector, so now I suggest you put a powerful lamp behind the scrolling paper and project the holes onto the ceiling.
Now we were
Ooh.
talking about that.
Oh.
Yeah, you need something to project the light through. Even like if
No, but
now
you could put a
I'm
light right here in the middle of our vibration isolation mounts that would project up
yeah,
through there.
right.
That's cool. It'd have to be a
I
single
mean, I
point
don't know
light.
if there was smoke. Oh my God. We got to put a smoke machine in there, and then as the notes are coming through, you can see the little lasers. Oh.
Lasers.
That would be very
lasers.
cool. Lays orbs.
Is it bad to have a smoke machine right next to a running motor?
No,
I mean,
it's
No.
glycerin
I think
and
it would
water.
be bad for the paper, perhaps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The smoke machine juice is literally glycerin and water. It's nothing.
Okay.
Not much residue to that.
But like,
How
it would possibly ruin the paper.
Oh yeah, make it moist.
Don't say that word.
Moist.
Moist.
All
What's
right,
wrong with the
guys.
word? It's a
You
great
guys
word.
are liking
Top 10
this
words.
pattern already better than I like this pattern better than the 5-spoke.
Tim, when I get home tonight, just tell me the specs for the wheels, and I'll give you some 3D objects for the gears.
You-
That is.
Can you just use some sort of SolidWorks gear generator?
No, we don't have that.
Yeah, we don't have
We
that.
don't have toolbox.
So
Which was
does
like my first complaint ever.
Tim?
You just
This didn't work.
I'm thinking 5 spokes though on this guy.
Well, we could do the same thing,
Yeah.
but with 5 spokes. It's just like all the other
Yeah.
ones that use these have 4 spokes.
I know, but this is even still like 5 works better. This is there's too many connotations with crosses. I mean, when it's
5 is
buried,
the
when it's buried on the
5 is-
machine, like it's fine. But if this is the focal point, just design wise, you want to go with an odd number.
Okay.
yeah. I'm with Maureen.
5 is the Wintergatan number.
Is
I
it
thought that was
really?
38.
No, there's just a lot of like pentagons in on the marble machine.
All right, so we'll start over again.
You can't just add one.
No.
Tim, you can edit the circular pattern. What's up?
No,
No,
because
I never
did
got the circular
totally
pattern to
agree
work.
with it.
Oh.
Also, Tim, I figured out how to do, if you want to do mirror component and then generate a new part, I figured out how to do that.
Okay. Tell me quickly while we're here.
All right, so what you got to do is
There's a
create
checkbox
or
or something.
right click on it on the thing and do, or sorry, however you did the mirror component, do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the settings, there's a, let me see.
Oh,
So you did,
I just read a note. Have you saved lately, Tim?
No, but I will
Do you have
now.
auto save on?
I haven't updated those. I did look for it, but I did not succeed. So thank you.
Yeah, that was Yorin left a message in the chat about that. Note to Tim: save often, and don't forget to save. Also, make sure you save your work.
Oh, and don't forget to save. By the way.
anyway, there's an option called make right-handed version. That's what you want.
Okay.
Make other-handed version.
But so are you looking at that in your SolidWorks right now? Because I remember that option happening. Damn it! Look at this. It's always going to the. I have no idea why that's happening.
Well, can you make that point the origin of the sphere?
It just like the.
It just worked for no reason whatsoever.
Cool.
All right, now it looks like a candy cane, like a cinnamon swirly.
That's okay.
Sweet,
It won't be
that's
pink
good.
and white.
Cinnamon bun.
Cinnabon. I like me some Cinnabon. That look good?
So we were going to talk about the wheel. We were going to talk about the screen. What was number 2? There are three
the
things we were
support,
gonna
the
talk.
support structure for this thing.
Oh, so we talked about that too. All right, cool.
Yeah. So we're going to do the trim and extend thing. Love trim. Yoink. Yoink.
Yeah, I love this whole move strip.
It's like the eraser in SketchUp.
Yes, it
So
is.
nice.
Well, or the trim tool in every CAD program.
I've never used a CAD program. I don't know.
Start using it.
Okay, you want to reorganize the idea
Here-
vault
here
while I
first,
do
folks.
that?
Just
Yeah.
start using it, Maureen.
Maureen, take over Andre's work. Start doing the skeleton.
Hey, don't challenge me, cause watch out.
Ah.
No,
I was
I'm
actually-
happy to
I was-
stay. I'm happy to stay management on this. Like, that's fun for me. Like, I think this would be fun too, but there's not enough managers in any of these the projects. So
I was
I'm happy to
actually
step back
praising
from that.
you, Andre, the other day to a guy over here at the workshop.
You were doing what to me?
I was praising you,
Oh, okay, sweet. That's
or
good.
giving you praise.
Thanks.
And so I showed this guy the skeleton. And he was like, "This guy must have the biggest brain."
All right. Just
And
so
he
that
was like, "Why are all these things named random things and contain random lines?" Is that what he said?
Well, the thing was, he was a fusion newbie, so yeah, he was pretty taken aback by it all. Also,
Alright.
what's the time?
2:51. So real quick, while we're here, I do want to broach the other topic, which is the support frame. I'm assuming that we're going to keep the general design kind of like how it was, with basically dog bone looking things.
Well, I think if we can get the dog bones to look like the side frame on the MMX, that might be cool. But again, they're gonna have to fit in the box now, so.
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at, right, there's some cool stuff. I mean, that's just a cool shape to me, right? But if you look at the
Yeah, right there. That's like that triangular bit.
Let me go back. Oops, I forget which tab I
If
had.
only we
what
had a
open
really
in.
cool way to look at the MMX, like all the CAD like put together, like and assembled together. You know, if only we had a way to look at that.
Yeah, if only we could look at it.
Yeah.
Shut up.
That wasn't Google Images, just a way.
No,
Yeah,
the reason
bit
I'm doing
insulted
this,
by that.
Andre, thank you, Smarlock, is because I'm looking for the music box, not for the MMX.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just commenting on the fact that you had to Google search MMX in order to look at.
Yeah, no, and I have I have our project open and everything. Yeah, I have no excuses for that. But you see these things. Let's see on this thing, right? So he comes up, and then I don't know why this joint exists, and then it comes over. Why does this joint exist right here?
It's to keep the paper up, feeding into the music box.
Okay. Oh,
right?
Yeah. And there's another one over here. I never even noticed that. Okay, so there's that, and then he basically, this is like the first washer stack. Right?
The embryonic washer stack, the larval washer stack.
Yeah, this is like before washer stacks were cool. There was this. He basically is bringing this whole thing in, because this is the whole box here. Oh, by the way, here's that potentiometer and the switch. I don't know if that. How do I make this bigger?
Pre-Cambrian washer stack.
Yeah. See that? Oh, this has been photoshopped. But see, he's got a. It looks almost like a guitar volume knob.
Wait, do you think there's
Probably is.
Yeah.
washer stacks on the original Marble machine?
There have to be.
How could there not be?
How could there not be? How could yeah? I mean, how could you go through life and live with yourself without having washer stacks if you're Martin? But yeah.
Where did that image come from?
It's some website. I think they're selling this as a poster.
It's cool.
All is well, music box and module, and oh, it's a digital track. And now as
See how there's no stand there? Like, I really feel like it just needs to be floating in air. Whatever we do, that stand has to be black.
yeah, okay.
Maybe this is a reason to not have the plugs on the bottom, because if there were plugs on the bottom, you couldn't set it down on a surface like this.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking more like the plugs would
Come out the tail end over here.
no.
They could come out
But they
the side,
could.
on, like the other side. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tail end. I'm okay with those.
But I was thinking more that there wouldn't actually be a plug. It would be more inset into the bottom, so that I'm not really sure what I was
That's a good
thinking.
idea. That's a good idea. Like a little hole, like a recess, and then the plug is in there.
Kind of like how
So
this
that
one
you
is.
can-
There's a recess in this box. We have an opportunity to do that on this thing, with this end down here. Right?
Oh, Tom Q says he has a solution for plugs. 2 minutes. He's probably going to post something in the chat. You only have 4 minutes because this stream is ending in 4 minutes. Be quick.
All right, so we're going.
I need to go peel some shrimp.
Okay, is that a euphemism for?
No, it's not.
bathroom break?
I'm making jambalaya for dinner.
Okay.
Sweet.
See, you notice on this thing, if we have looking at this body, the axis is way over the top of it, and it's not for us. So
That's so the paper can come out as flat as possible.
Yeah.
Tom, I'm
Well,
just
yeah, I guess
messing
the
with
way that
you.
you designed it is to make it straight and flat.
Yeah,
the
I
paper
can
coming
I
out.
can leave and you guys can continue.
It doesn't have to be that way. Well, no, we're gonna end the stream on time, no matter what.
You can still solve it off time.
Yeah. Post
Yeah.
everything in the chat, Tom.
Don't
Boom, it's
speedrun
longer
solving
now.
a problem.
Let's see, did I break everything?
It grew a shrubbery.
It grew. It grew by too much. But look how I just completely changed. Well, and look, see now this thing is not. It did break. It wasn't.
All those wonderful errors that we see. Beautiful.
I mean, a lot of stuff updated nicely, but it wasn't perfect. It's kind of an interesting exercise to try to change things. How I defined this edge was with a length, not relative to the geometry over here. But everything else turned out fine.
Yeah.
But in any case,
this is the way I always test the skeleton. If you can move it and it works, that's good.
right.
If you can move it and it breaks, you gotta fix it.
So now we can do that. I'm trying to be as literal as I can here.
Okay, Duh PhD in the chat says what the support for the wheel and box was. What the support for the wheel and box was like a face-up hand, making the OK symbol, and pinching the wheel axis, and the fingers and palms supporting the bottom of the box. I have no idea what he's talking about.
Great.
You know what? He suggests
I mean,
he got us
they-
all to do this on camera, though, so that's
Yeah.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Is this like the universal sign of like I'm an idiot and you just got us all to do it?
Okay, we're doing it perfect. They're not trolling. Wait, but support for the wheel and box. You mean like the stand that it was on? Is that what you're saying? Person in the chat.
It's probably Martin trolling us.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, okay. Man, we need a link to an image. I do not remember that at all. I thought it was just on a mic stand, but okay. I'm gonna have a weird.
No.
You know what I'm
No,
just picturing?
Didn't they say no? Didn't they say what if?
Oh, what if? Oh, I thought you were saying what the support and wheel box was.
Yeah, we
like,
thought we
okay.
thought you were an expert on this. And
Oh, what if? So you
Classic
mean
what
like the
if.
big hand chair from Arrested Development? Like that is what's going to be holding this box up?
Easy.
I don't know
Easy.
if that's going to fit the aesthetic. All right, I do have to go though. It's 6 o'clock now.
Okay. All right. Well, okay.
Otis, I gotta run.
We've made some so let's just so
we made progress.
we've made some
today,
progress.
for sure.
So I like the what we've done, at least what we did the last week, is that we talked about a few things. We made some decisions, right? But obviously in the stream, while I'm talking and doing all this other stuff, I can't actually do a good job catting it. So what I will do is I will come back to this. We'll continue the conversation on the Winter Garden Discord for those of us who are super interested in this. And I will make some of those changes to this model so that you're not watching me do the CAD. The only one thing I know, I mean, it gives us something visual to talk about, but the
no, it's fine. I just
there will be plenty of CAD happening. But next week we're gonna have Sebastian on, and Sebastian has made a music box. He laser cut one and made one. So we'll try to mine his experience for that as well. But I'm assuming we're gonna kind of go for something looking like this, right? Design aesthetically, we're gonna try to make, because this frame kind of looks like the MMX frame too. So I'm gonna come up with something that is steel cut like the MMX, but is kind of like this, and then we'll come back and talk about that as well.
Steel cut ups.
Steel cut
Oh yes.
cutouts.
Steel cut oats.
Laser cut.
Yes.
Laser cuts. Iron
Oats.
bars. Oats. Yes.
Steel
cut oats. I see. I see. It took me about 5 years, but I got there. So yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Alrighty.
Does that work for everybody?
Sounds great to me.
Thank you, Mo, for wingmanning with me. And
of course, happy
Eric,
to
Andre,
do it.
everybody else, Max, and everybody watching. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us. I'm
all 11 of you.
All 11. Well, I mean, so the whole point of this is to practice our live stream.
No, we're doing it. It's good.
Right. I mean, we have more people on our streams on our Discord Wednesday meetings than we have on this, but we're the key success metric is that we're doing this weekly, and I don't freak that much out about doing it. So we're developing it's a muscle, right? Being able to use this medium and know how to do it without stress. So all right.
Use the medium.
All right, guys. That's it for this week. Have a great Friday.
Yeah.
Don't do something that the former me would do. Do something the current me would do, which is go home and spend time with the people you love. And
actually, I'm gonna go home.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I'm gonna go make dinner.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Have a nice dinner.
Yeah.
Bye.